Hi there, my name is Brandon Carabinas. I'd like to thank you for joining me this evening as I discuss with you the rising cost of college education as well as the overwhelming amount of debt that students face upon graduation. First off, I'd like to give a huge thank you to the loan companies that made it possible for me to get through college. I don't think I can ever repay you though. But seriously, I'd like to start off with a quote from Bernie Sanders, U.S. Senator. The cost of college education today is so high that many young people are giving up on their dream of going to college, while many others are graduating deeply in debt. What Bernie Sanders said a few years ago remains true today. Currently, the United States faces a $1.48 trillion financial debt with student loans. Yes, I said trillion. And as of 2016, the average student loan debt is around $37,000. In Pennsylvania, though, we pay the second most in average debt per student. That's pretty significant, being raised in Pennsylvania, going to school in Pennsylvania. So we face a steeper uphill battle. A little bit of background on myself. I went to school for 4 years at a private institution, graduated with close to $80,000 in student loan debt. My twin brother went to school at a private institution, more for a specialty. He went for chef. He graduated with close to $90,000 in student debt. My oldest brother went to school for 4 years, plus a year for his master's, graduated with close to $100,000 in student debt. All three of us grew up with parents who never went to college, so they didn't understand the student debt crisis. Unfortunately, being in Pennsylvania, we did have to pay a little bit more. 3 solutions that I want to offer up to you today are something that I think can help fix this crisis that we are involved in. And yes, I don't use that term loosely, this is a crisis. The first solution I'd like to offer up to you currently is being used in Germany. It is the free public tuition option. So in Germany, we know free doesn't always mean free. Students there graduate with an average debt of around $2,500. In Sweden, they have free public tuition, but they graduate with an average debt of around $20,000. So, when it comes to the free tuition, colleges will find ways to make money. They do this through assessing various fees. Fees being campus fees for maintenance, laboratory fees to utilize in classes, and even if you don't play sports, they have athletics fees. So these fees, they're always going to find a way to make money. The first example I have to show you here is the free public tuition. Now we're going to say that an average of $2,000 and $3,000 per semester is what fees would cost. We're going to average that out to about $2,500 in fees over an 8-semester period, which would be a 4-year degree. That's going to come out with around $20,000 of student loan debt. So $20,000 in student loan debt in comparison to $37,000 in the U.S. average is pretty significant. I think people would choose the $20,000 over the $37,000. The second option I'd like to bring up to you today would be an option that's currently being used in Australia. In Australia, they have a 3-tier cost-sharing system. They have the first tier being those of teachers, public service workers. Second tier would be comparable to what a U.S. nurse would be. The third tier would be those of doctors and lawyers and people who are generally higher up and make more than the average citizen. No payment is made until they reach a threshold. The threshold being minimum of $41,480 US dollars. So for the example I'm going to show you here, we're going to use that $41,000 salary. So $41,000 salary would be about $21.60 per hour. We're going to multiply that salary by 4%, which is the minimum that they are able to take from your payments in Australia. That's going to equal about $1,659 per year. We're going to divide that by 12 months to make a monthly payment of around $138. $138 monthly payment in comparison to a $351 average payment for the U.S. citizen is pretty significant. Again, $138 I would take definitely over $351. The next example I'm going to show you with the same payment withholding option that is used in Australia. The second option is going to be with a nurse's salary in the United States. Average registered nurse's salary is $66,000 in the United States. or $34.38 per hour. With that average salary, we're going to multiply it by 6%. That gives us around $3,960 over a year. We're going to divide that by 12 months and average it out to a $330 monthly payment. Again, $330 is less than $351. People would much rather have a lower payment over a longer period of time. Also, the big thing about Australia is a lot of their loans have no interest. Pretty significant. The last option that I would bring up to you today would be the option of public service loan forgiveness. Now, this option is being used currently in the United States, but there's a lot of requirements that go along with this. First, you must work for a nonprofit organization, complete employment certification yearly, use an income-based repayment plan, which is you pay as much as you make. And you also must make 120 qualifying payments. Qualifying being the key term there. Qualifying payment would consist of a payment that is on time and a payment that is paid in full. If it is neither of those, it is not qualifying. Finally, after making 125 payments, it's not just given to you. You have to apply for it. Once applying after the 120 qualifying payments, you're eligible for forgiveness. Anything after the 10-year period of the 120 qualifying payments may be forgiven if approved. In October 2017, it was the first year that people were eligible to apply for forgiveness under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. They estimated around 15 to 18% actually applied for forgiveness and were given it. Now, that's not counting people that didn't apply for it or weren't aware that they were able to apply for it. In conclusion, many students face the uphill battle of overwhelming student debt. My wife and I checked all of the boxes coming out of school. We graduated on time, we got jobs immediately following our degrees, yet we still face struggles to make ends meet. I have a quote here from Mark Pocan, who is a Wisconsin congressman. By making college unaffordable and student loans unbearable, we risk deterring our best and brightest from pursuing higher education and securing a good-paying job. I believe that the three solutions that I offered today can be utilized to help decrease the amount of student loan debt that we currently face. Growing use of private loans, along with the high interest rates that come along with them, and the increase in the amount of students that will go through college year to year, is going to make this problem even worse. Something needs to be done now to fix this crisis. And I don't use that term crisis lightly. This is a crisis. I'd like to thank you for your time this evening. If you don't mind me, I'm just going to be carrying this guy around with me for probably the rest of my life. Thanks again.